The Quantum Prison Discovery. The deep space research vessel Pioneer's Edge drifted silently through the Kepler void, its massive sensor arrays sweeping the darkness for signs of the impossible. Captain Elena Vasquez stood on the bridge, watching streams of data flow across holographic displays that painted the emptiness around them in precise detail. For 3 months, her ship had been investigating quantum anomalies reported by automated probes, chasing ghost signals that shouldn't exist in the cold vacuum between star systems. Elena was a third-generation space captain, her grandmother having commanded colony ships during humanity's first expansion beyond Earth. The Vasquez family had always been drawn to the unknown, and Elena carried that tradition into the era of humanity's emergence as a major galactic power. Her crew reflected Earth's diversity: scientists from every continent, military officers from various backgrounds, all united by humanity's insatiable curiosity about the universe. Dr. Marcus Webb, the ship's chief physicist, looked up from his console with excitement barely contained in his voice. "Captain, you need to see this. The quantum signatures we've been tracking, they're not natural phenomena. These readings suggest artificial manipulation of space-time itself on a massive scale." Elena moved to Webb's station, studying the complex data patterns that meant little to her but clearly thrilled her physicist. "Explain it in terms a pilot can understand, Marcus." Webb's hands danced over his controls, highlighting specific data streams. Someone or something is using quantum technology to create a stable pocket dimension. The energy requirements would be enormous, requiring the output of several stars. But more importantly, the quantum signature suggests this structure has been active for over 1,000 years. Lieutenant Commander James Park, the ship's tactical officer, spoke up from his position. "Captain, if someone has been maintaining quantum technology for a millennium in empty space, they're far more advanced than any known civilization. This could be a first contact situation." Elena felt the familiar thrill of discovery mixed with caution that had kept her alive through 15 years of deep space exploration. Humanity had encountered several alien species during their expansion, most peaceful, but all possessing technologies and capabilities that demanded respect. Set course for the quantum signature's origin point. All departments prepare for potential contact protocols. The journey took 18 hours, during which the ship's xenobiologist, Dr. Amara Singh, worked with the linguistics team to prepare translation protocols. The Pioneer's Edge carried the most advanced communication systems humanity had developed, capable of analyzing and interpreting dozens of known alien languages and communication methods. As they approached the coordinates, the main view screen revealed something that made the entire bridge crew fall silent. Floating in the void was a structure of impossible beauty and terrifying implications. It appeared as a crystalline lattice stretching hundreds of kilometers in each direction, its surfaces shimmering with energy patterns that hurt to look at directly. The structure pulsed with a rhythm that seemed almost organic, as if it were breathing. "My God," whispered Dr. Singh. "It's magnificent and horrible at the same time." Webb's instruments were going crazy, recording energy patterns unlike anything in human databases. "Captain, the quantum fields around that structure are incredibly complex. It's not just one pocket dimension. There are thousands of them, nested within each other like Russian dolls." Elena studied the readings, her military training analyzing potential threats, while her explorer's heart raced with the implications, any signs of defensive systems or weapons. Park shook his head, but his expression remained tense. "Nothing overtly hostile, but the technology involved is so far beyond our understanding that we might not recognize their weapons if we saw them." Dr. Singh had been running passive scans, trying to detect life signs within the massive structure. Her readings made her gasp audibly. "Captain, I'm detecting millions of life forms inside that structure. The biosignatures are incredibly diverse, dozens of different species, maybe more." The bridge fell silent again as the implications sank in. Elena made a decision that would echo across the galaxy. "Open all communication channels. Broadcast on every frequency we know. If there's anyone in there who can understand us, let them know we come in peace." For several minutes, they received no response. Then, slowly, a signal came back that made their translation computers work frantically to decode it. When the message finally came through clearly, it changed everything humanity thought they knew about the galaxy. "Unknown vessel, this is Keeper Zenth of the Axelar people. Your arrival brings hope to souls who have forgotten its meaning. We are prisoners here, guardians of the last free thoughts of 100 civilizations. If you truly come in peace, we must speak quickly. Our captors will detect your presence soon." Elena exchanged glances with her senior officers. This was no longer just a scientific discovery. It was a rescue mission. "Keeper Zenth, this is Captain Elena Vasquez of the Earth vessel Pioneer's Edge. We're here to help if we can. What do you need us to know?" The response came with urgency that translated clearly across species barriers. "Captain Vasquez, we have waited so long for someone like you. The structure you see is a quantum prison, built by the hegemony to contain entire civilizations deemed dangerous to their rule. We are the survivors of 100 worlds, kept alive to serve as examples of what happens to those who resist their authority." Dr. Webb was frantically analyzing the quantum prison structure while Elena continued the conversation. "How many of you are in there, Keeper Zenth?" "Nearly 50 million souls from dozens of species, Captain. We have been held here for over 800 years, our children born in captivity, our cultures slowly dying despite our efforts to preserve them. The hegemony uses us as a warning to other worlds. Submit or face eternal imprisonment." Elena felt anger rising in her chest, a deep human rage at injustice that had driven her species to fight tyrants throughout their history. Who is this hegemony? Why haven't we encountered them before? Keeper Zenth's response carried both fear and hope. They rule the galaxy's core regions, controlling thousands of systems through fear and overwhelming technology. They have not expanded into your region because they consider outer rim species too primitive to bother with. But your presence here suggests they may have underestimated humanity. Park had been monitoring long-range sensors and suddenly looked up with concern. "Captain, I'm detecting quantum fluctuations consistent with large ships dropping out of hyperspace. Multiple contacts approaching our position." Elena's mind raced through options. Her ship was powerful for human standards, but faced unknown technology that had imprisoned millions for centuries. "Keeper Zenth, how much time do we have?" "The prison's automated systems have already alerted the hegemony fleet. You have perhaps 1 hour before their enforcement ships arrive. Captain, you must leave and warn your people. The hegemony will not ignore humanity's existence now that you have seen their prison." But Elena Vasquez was her grandmother's granddaughter, raised on stories of humans who never abandoned those in need. "Keeper Zenth, is there a way to free you from that prison?" A long pause followed. Then Keeper Zenth's voice returned with something humanity's translators had trouble identifying. Hope mixed with disbelief. "The quantum locks require specific harmonic frequencies to disable. We have spent centuries trying to calculate them, but the mathematics are beyond even our advanced sciences. However, your species has something we have observed in your communications. You approach problems differently than any species we have known." Dr. Webb looked up from his calculations with excitement. "Captain, I think I understand what he means. The quantum lock system is incredibly complex, but it's also rigid. It was designed by minds that think in straight lines, perfect mathematical progressions. But human mathematics includes chaos theory, quantum uncertainty principles, and creative problem-solving approaches that might work where pure logic fails." Elena made another decision that would define humanity's role in the galaxy. She opened a priority channel to Earth Fleet Command, transmitting everything they had learned. "Fleet Command, this is Pioneer's Edge with a priority Alpha Discovery report. We have encountered a massive prison containing 50 million alien refugees and evidence of a hostile galactic empire. Requesting immediate support and authorization to attempt rescue operations." The response came back within minutes, transmitted across the quantum communication network that connected human space. Admiral Sarah Chen's voice carried the authority of Earth's combined fleets. Captain Vasquez, your report is confirmed and approved. Battle Group Omega is mobilizing with full authorization for rescue operations. Your orders are to maintain position and gather all possible intelligence on enemy capabilities. Elena looked around her bridge at faces that reflected her own determination. Humanity had spent centuries fighting for freedom on Earth, then decades establishing themselves among the stars. They had never backed down from bullies, and they wouldn't start now. Keeper Zenth, she said, help is coming. Give us everything you know about the hegemony ships, weapons, and tactics. We're going to get you out of there. The Keeper's response carried an emotion that transcended species, gratitude mixed with desperate hope. Captain Vasquez, in 800 years of imprisonment, no one has ever said those words to us. If your species truly attempts this rescue, you will either become legends of liberation or martyrs to impossible courage. Elena smiled grimly as she watched her crew prepare for the fight of their lives. Keeper Zenth, you clearly don't know humans very well. We specialize in impossible courage. As the Pioneer's Edge began transmitting detailed scans of the quantum prison to incoming human fleets, Elena realized that this moment would be remembered as the day humanity announced itself as more than just another galactic species. They were about to become something the galaxy hadn't seen in centuries, liberators who refused to let tyranny stand unchallenged. The quantum prison pulsed in the darkness, holding 50 million souls who had given up hope of freedom. But they had never met humans before, and humans had a talent for making the impossible merely difficult. The Deathworlder liberation. Admiral Sarah Chen stood in the command center of the dreadnought Unconquerable, watching the largest human fleet ever assembled prepare for what historians would later call the liberation of the Kepler Void. 200 ships from every human world had answered Earth's call. Massive battleships from the military colonies, fast attack cruisers from the outer settlements, and support vessels carrying humanitarian supplies for 50 million refugees. Sarah had earned her rank during the Centauri border conflicts, where human tactical innovation had surprised older galactic civilizations. Now, at 55, she faced a challenge that would either establish humanity as a major galactic power or result in their complete destruction. The intelligence gathered by Captain Vasquez painted a terrifying picture of hegemony technology, but it also revealed something crucial. They had grown complacent after centuries of easy victories. Admiral, incoming transmission from the Pioneer's Edge, announced Commander Lisa Torres, the fleet's communications officer. Captain Vasquez appeared on the main screen, her face showing the strain of maintaining position near the quantum prison, while the hegemony patrol ships circled like predators. Admiral Chen, the situation has evolved. Keeper Zenth has provided detailed schematics of the prison's quantum lock system. Dr. Webb believes he can create the harmonic frequencies needed to disable the locks, but will need to maintain position within 50 kilometers of the prison for at least 30 minutes while the process completes. Sarah studied the tactical display, showing hegemony ships positioning themselves between the human fleet and the prison. Intelligence suggested they commanded technology centuries ahead of humanity's, but intelligence had been wrong before. Captain, what's your assessment of enemy capabilities? Vasquez's response carried the confidence of someone who had spent months analyzing the enemy. Their ships are powerful but predictable, Admiral. They rely on overwhelming firepower and superior shields, but their tactics haven't changed in centuries. They expect enemies to meet them in traditional fleet engagements where superior technology wins the day. Commander Jackson Reed, Sarah's tactical officer, had been studying hegemony battle records provided by the imprisoned Axillary. Admiral, every engagement in their databases follows the same pattern. They form perfect battle lines, advance at optimal firing ranges, and simply outgun their opponents. It's mathematically precise but completely inflexible. Sarah felt a familiar stirring, the same instinct that had led human forces to victory against seemingly superior opponents throughout their history. They've never fought humans before. They don't know we're completely insane by galactic standards. The hegemony fleet that emerged from hyperspace was impressive by any measure. 60 massive vessels arranged in perfect geometric formations, their black hulls bristling with weapons that could crack planets. At their head was a ship twice the size of any human dreadnought, its quantum signatures suggesting technology that bordered on the miraculous. The enemy commander's message arrived on all frequencies, translated into perfect human languages, by systems that had clearly been analyzing Earth's communications for some time. Primitive vessels, you will withdraw immediately from this restricted zone. The criminals contained within this facility are enemies of galactic order. Any interference will result in your complete destruction. Sarah opened a response channel that would be heard throughout human space and recorded by alien civilizations across the galaxy. This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Fleet. The only criminals I see are those who imprison innocent people for centuries. We're here to right a wrong, and we're not leaving without those refugees. The hegemony commander's response carried the arrogance of centuries of unchallenged power. You speak of rights and wrongs as if such concepts matter in the face of superior force. Your species will learn what happens to those who challenge the established order. What happened next would be studied in military academies throughout the galaxy for generations. Instead of forming traditional battle lines to meet the approaching enemy, the human fleet did something unprecedented. It scattered in all directions like startled fish, using every asteroid, debris field, and energy signature in the system as cover. The hegemony ships, programmed for formal fleet engagements, struggled to maintain their perfect formations while tracking targets that refused to behave logically. Human ships appeared from behind asteroids to launch missile strikes, then disappeared again before return fire could reach them. Fast attack craft harassed the enemy flanks, while heavy battleships provided covering fire from unexpected angles. Captain Maria Santos of the cruiser Relentless exemplified human tactical thinking when she used her ship's gravitational drive to slingshot around a dead moon, emerging at point-blank range behind a hegemony destroyer. Her missile barrage crippled the enemy vessel before it could turn to face her. Then she was gone again, using the moon's gravity well to accelerate away from return fire. Commander David Kim aboard the Thunderbolt took an even more audacious approach, deliberately flying his ship into the quantum prison's energy field, where hegemony weapons couldn't target him without risking damage to their own facility. From this protected position, he coordinated missile strikes from other human ships, while simultaneously defending Dr. Webb's efforts to crack the quantum locks. The battle raged for 2 hours, with human ships dancing around their enemies like wolves attacking a herd of giants. The hegemony's superior firepower meant nothing when they couldn't hit targets that refused to stay still long enough to be destroyed. Their perfect tactical computers, designed for orderly engagements, began making errors when faced with human chaos. Dr. Webb, working frantically aboard the Pioneer's Edge, finally achieved the breakthrough they needed. Captain Vasquez, I've isolated the harmonic frequencies. The quantum locks are responding, but I need time to sequence the unlocking process properly. Sarah watched the tactical display as hegemony ships began adapting to human tactics, their artificial intelligences slowly learning to counter unconventional warfare. All ships, execute Phoenix Protocol. We need to buy Dr. Webb 30 minutes. The Phoenix Protocol was humanity's most desperate tactic, save for moments when survival depended on actions that bordered on madness. Every human ship in the fleet suddenly accelerated directly toward the enemy, launching every weapon they possessed in a coordinated strike designed to overwhelm hegemony defenses through sheer audacity. The result was chaos beyond anything the galaxy had ever witnessed. Human ships, many damaged and running on emergency power, crashed through hegemony battle lines like meteors through tissue paper. Some ships were destroyed in the assault, their crews sacrificing themselves to create openings for others. But their sacrifice achieved something unprecedented in galactic history. They broke a hegemony fleet formation. Captain Rebecca Foster of the battleship Constitution found herself facing the enemy flagship in single combat, her ship's weapons barely scratching its massive shields. But she had something the hegemony commander didn't expect: pure human stubbornness. Instead of withdrawing when her ship took critical damage, she rammed the Constitution directly into the enemy's shield generators, her vessel's reactor overloading in a controlled explosion that brought down the flagship's defensive systems. As Foster's ship died in nuclear fire, the combined fire of 20 human vessels poured into the unprotected flagship. The hegemony's most advanced warship, damaged beyond repair, began listing toward the quantum prison it had been built to protect. At that moment, Dr. Webb achieved his breakthrough. The quantum locks, their harmonic frequencies finally matched by human mathematical creativity, began shutting down in sequence. The massive crystalline structure that had been a prison for 8 centuries started to dissolve, its pocket dimensions opening like flowers blooming in space. What emerged from the collapsing prison was a sight that brought tears to human eyes and terror to hegemony hearts. 50 million beings of dozens of species, some born in captivity and seeing stars for the first time, others remembering freedom from centuries past. Ships appeared as the pocket dimensions collapsed. Vessels that had been imprisoned along with their crews, some carrying technologies lost to the galaxy for millennia. Keeper Zent's voice came across all frequencies, speaking to his people in languages humanity's computers couldn't translate, but whose meaning was universal. My people, we are free. The humans have done what we thought impossible. They have broken the chains that bound us. The remaining hegemony ships, faced with 50 million freed prisoners and a human fleet that had just demonstrated tactical capabilities beyond their programming, made a decision that would echo across the galaxy. They retreated, jumping to hyperspace to carry word of humanity's intervention back to their masters. Admiral Chen opened channels to all the liberated ships, her words broadcast throughout the system and recorded by communication arrays that would carry them to every corner of the galaxy. To all the freed peoples of the quantum prison, you are under the protection of the Earth Defense Fleet. Any who wish sanctuary will find it in human space. Any who wish to return to their homeworlds will have our escort. The age of the hegemony's unchallenged rule is over. In the days that followed, as human ships worked alongside liberated aliens to establish refugee camps and coordinate the largest rescue operation in galactic history, word of the liberation of the Kepler void spread like wildfire. Oppressed peoples throughout the galaxy began looking toward the outer rim, where a young species had done the impossible. The Axillars, the first to be freed, became humanity's closest allies. Their advanced technology, combined with human tactical innovation, would form the foundation of the Galactic Liberation Alliance. Other species, inspired by human courage, began throwing off the chains of hegemony rule. Keeper Zent, now serving as the first alien ambassador to Earth, stood with Admiral Chen as they watched the last refugee transport disappear into hyperspace, carrying former prisoners to new homes among the stars. Admiral, your species has changed the galaxy forever. You have shown that tyranny, no matter how ancient or powerful, can be defeated by those willing to stand against it. Sarah watched the stars, knowing that humanity had crossed a threshold from which there was no return. They were no longer just another species exploring the galaxy. They had become the galaxy's liberators, the ones others looked to when freedom seemed impossible. Keeper Zent, she said, this is just the beginning. There are millions more out there who need our help. The hegemony may be ancient and powerful, but they've never faced anything like humanity before. As the human fleet prepared to return home, carrying word of their victory and the promise of more battles to come, the quantum prison's remains drifted in space like a monument to tyranny's defeat. 50 million souls breathed free air for the first time in centuries, and across the galaxy, the word spread that the humans had come, and they had shown that no prison was permanent, no tyrant unbeatable, and no people beyond hope of liberation. The age of the hegemony was ending. The age of